Hey there, Ken Coscia here. Today I want to share with you a training on a 5-step framework to help you make manifest in the world or co-create more of what you want. You can also use this 5-step framework to help you create more solutions when you're facing a challenge, to help you navigate some of the chaos and challenges because of all the noise that's out there. So let's go right into it. This is a very framework that we use throughout the Silva Method in the immersion experience of Silva Life and Intuition System. You may know it's a 4-day training. And we build on this. We build on this as a framework with all the tools and techniques. So let's look at step number 1. The very first step to create a solution, to make manifest, to improve, to change anything, and you maybe can guess this. Acknowledge. That's right. We've got to take responsibility, tell the truth, and identify what's wrong, what's not happening, identify and understand the current reality of your situation. Sometimes it's a problem, it might be a crisis, sometimes it's just something you want to improve or enhance. It's important, though, that as we acknowledge that, not overlook it, not overavoid it, that we do it with no judgment, to be as objective as possible, and to do it with self-compassion. Be very careful. It's essential. We all need to stop beating ourselves up, stop putting ourselves down and calling ourselves names. Oh, you idiot, I can't believe you did this. You know better. It doesn't help. In fact, that only makes it worse because we're shaming ourselves and we feel bad and we add stress. And when we go into stress mode, nothing really happens. So it's important to stay out of stress mode. So with no judgment, meaning you're observing. Here's a framework within the framework, 3-part framework. Or, or like an oaring a boat. The O, as in an acronym, stands for observe what's going on. Again, no judgment, just observe. Tell the truth. Identify what you see, what you're experiencing, what you're feeling, what the interactions are, what the conflict, if there's conflict. And then assess the situation. Okay, where have I been? Where do I want to go? And assess how this relates to you, how this affects you in your life, personally, professionally, your business, your relationships, whatever it might be. And that helps you to also then, which we'll go on to the next step, build out your goal, your intention. The third part of OR, the letter R, stands for then respond. Notice I'm emphasizing respond, not react. When we are in stress mode, which is the number one reason why people are not getting what they want, and we're in feeling the emotions of survival, literally the brain takes over, we're in survival mode, scarcity consciousness, and we block blood flow, oxygen flow to the brain, and we can't think very clearly. We lose access temporarily to our higher thinking functions, to our intuition. So keep in mind the law of attention. Whatever you give attention to, I like to say, you give energy to, and whatever you give energy to will grow and multiply. Therefore, when you acknowledge what's wrong, the challenge, the difficulty, the current reality, without judgment, with self-compassion, meaning give yourself permission not to be perfect. Forgive yourself. If you've made a mistake, even a serious mistake, not about making excuses, own it and recognize you can do better. So that's what I mean by self-compassion. It is very important. So as you acknowledge it, we don't want to make it worse than it is. You may know, if you know the Silva Method, we teach something called mental house cleaning. How to more effectively communicate, how to manage your inner dialogue. Be careful about your inner dialogue and not make it worse, not catastrophize it, not make it worse than it actually is. And that's the key for that, is to be in a state of no judgment. You're observing what's going on. So that's number 1. In any area of our lives, acknowledge what's going on. Second step of this 5-step framework would be first to be acknowledge, I'm here for that, and then what's your goal? What's the end result? What's the outcome? What is your intention that you want? And it's very equally important that your goals, well, goals can be fickle, like the weather, changing like the weather. You want to have, shall I say, purpose-driven goals, goals that contribute to a sense of mission, to your big why, to the big picture. That's how we navigate chaos. That's how we navigate all the turbulence and the noise out there so that we maintain our effectiveness. Because nobody's perfect. We all have ups and downs. There are cycles of growth. When you've got a big picture, a vision, and you're defined by a vision of your future, and you feel and live a sense of mission to contribute, to be of service in any way that you can be, that's what keeps us motivated. That's what helps us to get through the trying times. And one way is, sure, have goals. Be clear about your intention, what it is you want, the end result. However, you want to do your best to have your goals, your intention, in alignment with your values. Who or what's important to you. If somebody who's in your life now were no longer available to you for any reason, would you feel a sense of loss? And any answer yes to any individuals you think of, that's usually relating to someone who's very important to you, that's within your value system. Opportunities, things that you're able to do, freedoms you enjoy, if they were taken away from you, no longer available, would you feel a sense of loss? That's a way that we can, it takes a little bit of introspection to be in alignment, to stay in integrity. If you have a job, unfortunately, and you're being asked to do something that you know is wrong, that maybe is illegal, that maybe is just not fair or dishonest or taking unfair advantage of the customers, that's a horrible place. I feel for you, a horrible place to be and state. It'd be worth it leaving that, even if you had to take a temporary revenue drop, salary drop, because you can only take so much of that. It'll contribute to premature burnout. So it's really important. Another way you can assess your value system is just a funny game we play. If you won the lottery, I mean a huge amount, multi-millions, would you continue to do the work you're doing? If your answer is yes, good chance you're on mission, you're on purpose. If your answer is no way, I'm out of there in a heartbeat, that says a lot, doesn't it? For example, I feel very blessed and fortunate. If you've been following my work, I'm the lead instructor for the Silva Method. I'm the guy Jose Silva asked way back early in my career in 1984 to serve on his elite staff to do advanced training, to travel the world for the Silva Method in the community to help people take from those basic fundamental skills to another level, to help them get through their obstacles. It's such a blessing because I learned so much about this work and about this field and about people. And when I ask that question of myself, I say, yes, I continue. I'm pushing 73. I'm still there 53 years doing this work. People say, when are you going to retire? I don't believe in retirement. Now this is about you, not me. Just as an example, maybe you can benefit from it. Sure, I'm being more selective. Sure, I've slowed down a bit. Sure, I've managing my body and not as running around like I did when I was younger. Of course. But I'm still wanting to make a contribution, to be involved. So it's important. Why? Because the mission is, it's not about, sure, it's about self-improvement. Sure, it's about having a better life. Sure, it's about manifesting more of what you want. What really drives me, and I wonder if you can relate to this, is if each of us become a little bit better, a little bit nicer, a little bit more considerate, a little bit more loving in our lives, can you see? You'd be easier to live with. I'd be easier to live with. We'd be easier to work with, to deal with. Make sense? And then when we're driving on the road, we'd be more considerate. When we're interacting with people in the community, whether we know them or not, we'd be a little bit more, we'd be a little kinder, a little bit more appreciative. I think we all need to praise more and complain less. That's what's driving me, because since 1971, I've seen a big shift. I know there's a lot of craziness out there. It's hard to believe, but there are many more people like you and me who want to make a difference. There are many more people doing some really great things and contributing in a meaningful way to help people enjoy a more fulfilling life. Many more people like that than, the people that the news media seems to give all the attention to. So again, our goals need to be in alignment with our value system. And we need to, one way you can monitor that is put your money where your mouth is. Are you spending your time, what time you have, what disposable income you have, on supporting community events, activities that you believe in, that you feel are doing something good for the community? It's one thing to say something, another thing to act. I stop listening to what people tell me they're going to do, and I pay more attention to what they actually do. So one, acknowledge, take an assessment, have your goals in line with your values, number two. And third, very important, what I've often observed people miss as I've traveled the world for the Silva Method is planning, strategizing. This is one of the things that was misunderstood, I think, with the law of attraction and with the movie The Secret, and well-meaning, well-intending people who work to inspire people, to encourage people that we have infinite possibilities. I do believe that. I really do. You and I have incredible human potential. We have an infinite range of possibilities. However, it just doesn't happen because we want it and you're a nice person. You got to do some work. It doesn't just happen because you're mentally rehearsing and doing all sorts of cool visualization. That helps. That's important. And we feel it as if it's happened. But even when you create a vision of your future and you're living it as if it's happened, you'll get ideas. And we need to what? Act on those ideas. Take action. We need to first plan, have a strategy. So part of having the plan or strategy is we need to do our due diligence. And we need to find out what's it going to take. You want to build a business. You're starting a new business or you're scaling up your business. Well, you know this. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting the same results. So that means time to go back to school, do some research, take a training, hire a mentor, hire a coach. You know the saying, success leaves cues, success leaves clues. Excuse me, I said cues, it's clues. Model excellence, hang out, read the biographies of highly effective, successful people, especially in an industry that you're interested in. Attend their events, hang out with them, ask questions, whatever is available to you, because why should we struggle to reinvent the wheel, so to speak? That's one of the roles in my life I take really seriously. I teach regularly and have been since '53 throughout Boston, throughout New England here, Connecticut, and in the Chicago area. But a big part of my work for the Silva Method is I travel the globe doing advanced training within our community because we have instructors all over the globe doing this incredible course that Jose Silva built. And my message to, if you're one of those students, is do your due diligence, study, prepare, mastermind with people, review your successes, and create a workable strategy, a business plan, a plan of action. You're building a relationship. You want to have a more loving relationship or more romantic relationship or a better relationship with your children, your friends. Well, that just doesn't happen because we want it. There are ways to communicate where we support people and love them and are there with them. There are ways to communicate that really doesn't work. So we may need a little communications course. We may need a little help. That's all I'm saying. Plan, strategize. And number 4, nothing happens until we act. The most common thing that happens when people enter a quiet state, we call it, with the original Silva Method, the original Alpha Theta training, it truly is a super learning state. Mr. Silva, way back before anybody was doing this kind of work, there are a lot of philosophers, yes, really very cool people, really brilliant philosophers, and people who taught. But Silva, as far as I know, is the first to actually organize. And even said, I haven't done anything new, but I put together structured, age-old wisdom. And at his time, between 44 and 66, biofeedback was the common brain science of the day. Today it's more brain scans. But he studied psychology, positive psychology. He studied highly successful people, and he planned out a structured coursework. However, what I want to say to you is, when we do our thinking here in this quiet, relaxed state, we're less biased. There are less distortions. We're more like a child, if you will. There's more of a pureness. We're more likely to access our higher thinking, our authentic self, our higher self, however you want to call it, and getting ideas that go beyond here. Because here in our physical world, so to speak, in our objective language and world, we're defined by what we know to be true scientifically, medically, whatever. What we know to be true up till now. Please, just look back in history, 5 years, 10 years in technology, all the changes. Who would have ever dreamed that we'd have a phone that's got more computing power than many big, huge football fields if we go back like 20, 30 years ago? Unreal. Changing. So as we evolve and as we grow, with respect. So my point is, you're in a meditative state, which I recommend. We call it dynamic meditation, where you can be passive and active in your thinking. And you're reflecting, you're mentally rehearsing your life vision. You're living your ideal best self. Great exercise to do, hint, hint. As if it's real, as if you're there. When you do that and you succeed, you'll invariably have ideas. You'll invariably have meaningful coincidences, synchronicities. And the message is, it's necessary that we act on them and trust our gut, trust our intuition, trust the synchronicity, and not start second guessing. Well, will it really work? What about this? My message to so many of my students is, when you're working with meditation techniques, think less, do more. Think less, implement. That's what also taking action is. The challenge is, there's a disease that interferes. It's a dreaded disease. It's a disease that holds us back. It's a disease that perhaps contributes to failure and mishaps. Self-doubt. When we don't even believe we could figure out, say, why bother, who cares? That's one of the challenges I hear all the time. People, there are more than a few books on the Silva Method. One called Silva Control Method, by Jose Silva and Philip Mealy. You the Healer by Jose Silva, Robert Stone. A lot of really great books. What I hear from people is they get some value, but then they get a question in their head, and they wonder, well, if that question's not answered immediately, it's very possible, the danger is we lose confidence. I can't do it. It must be the first failure. Be careful about that. Watch your inner dialogue. So I heard Brendan Bouchard call it the confidence-competence loop. Brilliant. I love the way he says that. Because truly, as we develop a level of competence, skills, you need skills, and that takes training. It doesn't happen because you're a good person. When you have those skills and you implement and you reach some success, maybe small success, okay, there's something to this. That gives us a little bit of a boost, confidence. And that boost in the confidence gives us a little more courage to implement some more, aim for a bigger goal. Take a little more skills, maybe we get some training, maybe some coaching, we take a course, whatever it takes for you. You get a little more success because you're more competent, you're improving your skill level, and then we get a little more confidence, self-confidence. And eventually as we go, we start having the confidence that somehow, some way, I can figure this out. That's key. Because let's face it, often you have ideas, you have a vision, a grand plan, and no idea how you're going to get there. Never. 71, I'm 19 years old, the youngest instructor on the planet for the Silva organization. I never in my wildest imagination I'd be here 53 years later doing this, and have traveled to over 30 countries repeatedly, working with groups of hundreds of people to up to 1,000 people in live events, trainings, and so on a graduate level. Mastermind with successful people, people you admire. Take them to lunch. Get the idea? All of that helps to build your confidence in learning, which contributes to you taking action. So number one, we're acknowledging, identifying the problem, the challenge, or acknowledging the way things have been. Notice, you're acknowledging the way things have been up to now. You're telling the truth, not making it any worse. You have a goal, a sense of purpose, a mission that's in alignment with your values, of what's really important to you. You've got a plan, a strategy. You've done your due diligence. You're acting on that. You're implementing and getting as much feedback as possible to build your confidence. And then, as you're acting on that, following your hunches, your ideas, you want to claim it. Number 5, appreciate it. So, for example, when you're doing the mental rehearsal and being defined, as some say, by a vision of your future, and you're working on your best self or your future self and feeling great about it, the challenge is to live it, to feel it as if you are there in the moment, feeling what you feel, seeing what you would see, hearing what you would see as a result of reaching that end game, of reaching that outcome. It takes practice. It sounds a lot easier to do, and when you do it, it's a wonderful feeling. So what I want you to add to, and you want to do this in a quiet, relaxed state. This is what we spend 40 hours of training in the Silva Method doing, teaching you all sorts of various skills to implement. We're practicing. You're getting feedback constantly all throughout the program, which helps you to monitor and evaluate how you're doing. And it's not a quick fix, but slowly but surely over the course of 4 days, your confidence starts to grow. I love it. It's wonderful to watch people move from day 1 to day 2. It's a different group. Day 3 and 4, holy moly, people are really moving with it. We've had a number of breakthroughs. People are sleeping better. They're pain-free. If they came in with pain, they're having ideas, solutions, etc. But we're doing it in a state of being, creating a mental state, attuning to that, where we are not governed, we are not restricted by what we know logically to be true, what we know scientifically. So I'm not saying not to be scientific, but here, the world of imagination, creativity, all innovations, all breakthroughs, medically, technology, architecturally, relationships, ideas to improve, start first with an idea. Then we have to work our butts off to make it happen, to figure it out. Maybe we need some engineering, maybe we need some science there, whatever it is. But the first step is the idea. So you're claiming it thinking, thank you. Depending on your spiritual background, you may be saying, thank you, God, thank you, Source, thank you, Universe, thank you, Mom, whoever, thank you, higher intelligence. But definitely we are a small part of something, a grander picture, an energy, a field, if you will. So you want to claim it, meaning appreciate it. And the last thing you want to do is say, well, I really could have had 10 sales, but I only got 7. Appreciate even the small little progress, even though you had a grand goal you were working on. Because if we start beating ourselves up and we go into complaint mode, that causes a lot of stress hormones, and then again, that's a big major blocker. So my friends, one last time, I want to remind you, take a goal you have, take a project, take a solution, so-called crisis, something you're navigating, whatever, whether it be a real big concern or a small one. Maybe start with small first. First step is quiet yourself. Sit back, few slow, deep breaths, and acknowledge the way things have been up to now. Do it with compassion, no judgment. Then formulate, well, this is what's going on now, what I've been experiencing, but this is what I want. Make sure it's in alignment with your values. Then develop a plan, study, you need outside study, some training. You need some strategy. Then act and implement. There's so many well-meaning people, they study and study, they're brilliant, they know so much, but they're not what? Implementing, they're not acting on it. And that's often because of lack of confidence. Nobody in their right mind wants to be disappointed. So we got to get over that and recognize sometimes you're going to flop and sometimes you're going to really nail it. Act on that and then claim it. Appreciate in advance knowing what you will achieve. I look forward to hearing from you. And may I say, if you're finding this helpful and you want to build on it, I invite you to attend an upcoming immersion with me, Silva Life and Intuition System. I do them regularly, like I've been doing most of my life. It'd be an honor to have you in class and to work with you. It is one of the most amazing courses. There's a lot out there. What people tell me they like about Silva so much is it's structured. There's a lot of implementation. There's a lot of applications and tools that you can apply to just about every area of your life. And of course, if you find this helpful, share it with others. If you're not subscribing to my YouTube channel or subscribing to my newsletter, please do. I'd love to share it with you. Thanks for listening. Till the next time, remember, you are far, far greater, better than you realize. In fact, you're better.